Welcome to Beyond Sunday,
Thank
a
you.
podcast that we're doing here at the Bridge, where we have conversations with people about faith, life, and work. So
Right.
today, our guest is
Laura Peter.
Laura Peter.
Yep.
And Laura's first time somebody's brought a Bible, and that's an interesting looking Bible. Did you design that yourself?
No.
No. Okay. It looks cool. It's got all kinds of like cool kind of scribbles on it and stuff.
Yeah. I've had it for years.
Okay.
But over the years, I must admit, I have switched over to the phone.
Okay.
And
and today you're making a stand.
I'm making a point because I heard in the sermon on Sunday, I was listening, that, we probably should put down our phones because we're interrupted.
Right.
Now, I was thinking that, part of that is, you might get interrupted because you're popular. I don't tend to get interrupted that much because I'm not as popular as you.
Especially since you're no longer on the church board anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're just living the life,
I'm
retired.
Living the life of
Nobody
leisure.
wants to talk to you. Oh,
Exactly.
It's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But, I think it's going to be a combination of both.
Okay.
I do like the phone because it's a built-in concordance, basically.
That's
you can
true.
Do a Google or search on it, and boom, you come up. When you remember something on a verse, and you can Google it, and it pops up.
But you could have a physical concordance, and you would look so serious. You would look so spiritual. You got your Bible, your physical Bible, big honking concordance in front of you too. Some commentaries open. This is how I look really serious when people come into the office, into my office, and I've got all my resources spread out. I'm just actually on ESPN, But I'm.
I know. The concordance would break my back though; it's too heavy.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. But so I figured that this would be a good way of
Yeah.
So this is why I brought my Bible, because, if something came up, I could reference and go from there. There we go. So I've got this. So
awesome. We'll see if we can.
I even have some marks, so if it pops up. If
it
doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, it's there for me.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I was just saying to you actually before that I think of the podcast guests we've had so far, that you are the only one who has actually spent longer than like 4 years at the Bridge. Like you've. But when did you start coming to the Bridge Church? And it wasn't even at the Bridge Church at the time.
No, it was Delbrook Baptist.
Delbrook Baptist Church.
Delbrook Baptist Church. So a little bit of a gap, actually. Yeah. So history-wise, my aunt and uncle attended Delbrook Baptist Church. Okay. So they lived up in the upper Lonsdale area, and Delbrook was just off Lonsdale and Windsor. And so when I was a young child, under the age of 5, my mom actually took me and my brother up to Delbrook Baptist with my aunt and uncle. Probably about the time I was 7-ish, Hillside Baptist was formed and built. Okay. And Hillside was actually just around the corner from where I grew up. Okay. And so we stopped tending Delbrook, and we started tending Hillside Baptist. Okay. Probably, I was in my early teens and stuff. We were fighting all the time about going to church and what have you. And so my mom said, fine, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. So I said, okay, fine, I'm not going. So then in high school, I was in a French class, and the French teacher put us all in alphabetical order. And so at the time, my last name was Younger. So I was at the back of the row, right? Yeah. And there's not a lot of people with last names between T and Y. Right. Right? So I became very good friends with a girl by the name of Allison Taylor, who was a T, who sat across from me. Okay. And she was friends with a Gayla Otten. And Gayla Otten was going to Delbrook Baptist at the time with the youth group. So I started attending again in 78, 79 through the youth group.
There we go. Okay, from the 70s.
From the 70s.
Yeah. Were there hippies at the Bridge?
No, there was not.
There were not at Delbrook Baptist. No hippies.
No hippies.
It was not a hippie church.
It wasn't a hippie church.
No we have more hippies now, probably.
Yeah, you probably do.
So you've seen the church change so much. Oh, that's 45 plus years.
Well, I'm not the longest one. Obviously, but a lot of changes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So many. Like, I mean, and I've changed too throughout this whole process, right?
You become a hippie.
I've become a hippie a bit. Yeah, probably a little bit.
Just traveling around the country, free living, free spirit. Yeah,
exactly. You know, every Gulf island.
I don't know why I'm talking about hippies so much. I just heard 70s, and that's all.
That was the late 70s.
Yes,
it was a little
bit post-hippie.
A little post-hippie stuff.
We don't usually talk about hippies on the podcast here. No, this
good.
is the first.
Yeah. So you might find out a lot of things talking to me. I've been around so long. Seeing so many changes, gone through so many senior pastors, gone through, some changes in the body, changes in people's thought process. People are, growing, the way people engage with other people, with our community. Seeing the whole change going from the physical building to a rental to here, right? It's been a lot, right?
Yeah. No, it's been quite the journey. And I think people come into the bridge fresh and they don't know this long history, right? I think most people think that this is a church plant, that kind of started 4 years ago when this building was constructed. And to know that, there's this long history and all these ups and downs and twists and turns in the journey. It's incredible that we are where we are.
It's amazing. It's such a gift from God. To be part of this. Right. This is, and even you referenced the board, but to be on the board at the time I was on the board was just thrilling. Like it was just,
Now that is not a sentence that most people would expect to hear, right?
No.
Being on a church board was thrilling. Laura, how could that be?
But let's step back. So before I came onto the board, I'd been asked a number of times to come onto the board, and I always said no.
Yeah.
And
you say you're not popular.
And I say I'm not popular, but I said no. Like there's just no way.
Yeah.
And the last time that I was asked, I got a little bit more pushback. Like, why don't you want to be on the board? And so I finally said, someone would die. I either would be killed or I would kill somebody. So I'm not going onto the board.
It's a dramatic response.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But it was just, I felt like, I would just be like these people, I would just implode or someone else would implode. And I just could not see anything good coming from it.
Yeah.
So when I was asked to come onto the board, when I said yes, I felt the Lord leading. The person came up to me and said, "Are you going to kill anybody, Lord?" And I said, "No, this time I don't think so." And so, and so at the end of the 6 years, they came up to me and said, "So, no one died?" And I said, "Nope, no one died. That's my accomplishment."
There we go.
That's the best thing I did.
I think there was a lot more good things, but you got to explain why it was. What would make serving on a church leadership team thrilling? That is not a word that most people would associate. Do word association with church board? That's not the word.
No, boring.
That's not top 20, top 50. That's not there.
I think I found the niche for me too. Okay. It was a good team as well. I think we had an awesome team. The people on the board, I think, exemplified the Christian lifestyle, where if you had a disagreement, you talked about it there. You didn't go out and natter about it other places. You didn't always agree, but you came to a consensus. You had just the love for each other. You had the love for the church. I was able to put my skills to use to help you.
Yeah.
Right? That was sort of very, fulfilling for me in that I could ease up your administration stuff.
Yeah.
And you could concentrate on what you needed to do.
I was pretty grateful for that too. Yeah, that was pretty clutch.
Yeah.
For you to be there at that time with your, which we'll talk about your work experience and how that factored in actually to how you were able to serve at the church. Yeah. But that was huge.
Yeah. And that's why I think it was thrilling. I really felt useful. Yeah. I felt God leading. We were doing so many good things here. And so, it was a team effort, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, that's, I think, why I found it thrilling.
Okay.
Right.
So, you're happy to help me. And this is what's ironic about this. And this is the big revelation.
Yeah, we need a mic.
We need the mic so you can just drop it. Because this blew me away. for 8 years, I had been telling people, I tell the story about how, in a Baptist church, the pastor gets called, and it's like the membership as a whole that kind of votes yes or no, right?
And you're not at the meeting. You come
right.
to the meeting.
I preached in the morning, and then in the evening the church met, and then they had this vote.
And then you leave.
And then I get the phone call later on, and Carolyn and I we're talking, and I'm like, if it's lower than like 80% yes, I don't think I'll say yes. I really want it to be a pretty resounding yes. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting that phone call and hearing, it was really, really high percentage. And I asked how high it was. And if you and I remember this differently.
Yeah.
But I remember them giving me a percentage that indicated that there was one single no vote.
And see, I remember it as 3 no votes.
3 no votes. I remember 1 no vote. That's what in my mind, that was the percentage. And so for like years, I had been telling people, like somebody voted no. Like it was almost unanimous, and I'll never find out who it is, and they probably aren't at the bridge anymore. Like I probably scared them
away.
off. So you come onto the board, and you're with us for 6 years. You're the board chair for the last like maybe 4 years or something like that. Me and you work like really tight. Yeah. We're working really well together. And then in your last board meeting,
my last board meeting,
how did it come up?
Well, I don't know. I think you brought it up or something with regards to, that
Did I bring up the one vote? The one no vote.
Yeah, 1 vote. And I said, well, you never want to sort of assume that it's somebody because you're probably assuming wrong.
Yeah.
And then I sort of indicated that, well, you know what? It was me.
Yeah, and I thought you were joking. I was like, there's no way it was actually Laura. Yeah, not a chance. And you kept on saying it. I was like, no, that's like, it's a joke. You're still joking. And it really...
It's me.
It really... You are the no vote.
I was 1 of 3, if I recall.
Well, I don't think so. I think you're the only... I think that's a story you tell yourself, Laura, to feel better.
Maybe.
I think you were the only one.
No, I voted no. I think,
And so why did you vote no, Laura? Let's get real here.
Because
let's get
really,
honest.
At the time,
yeah.
I figured that you would really struggle
yeah.
with the way our cultural setting was at the bridge at the time, and that you would hit yourself against a brick wall over and over and over again. Yeah. And basically what would happen is everybody would implode, you would leave, and then we'd have a church split. And I just...
So you would die, somebody would die, church would die. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's a theme here, Laura.
There is,
you gotta work on your optimism a little bit more here.
So that's I really thought you would just really hit that wall too many times.
And to some extent, you were onto something.
Right.
Because the first 3 or 4 years was really, really hard, really challenging. And I did feel like I was beating my head against the wall in many cases.
Yeah. But God had a different plan.
He did have a different plan.
That's where we go, right? Really, that's,
Yeah.
So, and here I, serving on the board and feeling like I was helping you. And
so if we were to hold the vote again.
Yes, you would get it.
Oh, I'd get in? Okay.
You'd get it, yes.
I'd probably get a lot more than 3 no votes now, or 1.
No,
I
don't think so. I don't think so. I think you'd get a lot more yeses.
Anyways, that
blew you away.
It blew my mind. Absolutely.
Well, and that's, just going back, you never assume anything of, you could think that somebody's, that's that person's thinking that. Yeah. But you can never get into somebody else's brain, right?
No. And that people do change their mind about things, right? Where
totally.
Somebody is right now doesn't mean that they're always going to be there. And you being resistant to being on the board for so long, and then coming on and finding it to be a thrilling thing, and then you thinking that I was going to be the worst thing that ever happened to the bridge, and then it turned out it wasn't so bad.
No, you're probably the best thing that's ever happened to the bridge. But I think we've said that as well with being on the board. I think we who have been at the Bridge or Delbrook for a very long time, I think we've discussed this and said this is probably the most exciting time in our church life that we've seen.
Yeah,
we're seeing the growth. We're seeing the new people. We're seeing so many things happening with the staff and growth with them, and we're seeing this type of thing and just everything, right? So this is a truly exciting time, and to be part of this and to be part of God's plan in all this, that's thrilling and exciting.
Yeah. Do you think is there some kind of lesson there that would apply more generally to life? If people are listening to this and we're talking about something very particular here with you and the board and the bridge and so on. But is there something there that you can kind of draw out for more general application?
Just perseverance.
Okay.
Faith is not just a feeling. We have our feelings, we're human, but it's not just a feeling.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you're praying or you're reading your Bible or and it just feels like you're just not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Like the prayers are bouncing off the ceiling, the readings are like, I don't understand this, but just persevere.
Yeah.
And eventually God will reveal himself. The prayers will, go through the ceiling. Answers will come. And the readings will always, the reading will always come back to you. Right? Sometimes it's a slog, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to keep going.
Yeah.
And persevere.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
And I think too, that openness to how the Lord might move in a way different than we expect, right? Where we've got kind of our direction in mind,
right?
And even for me, I've talked about revival, I've talked about spiritual renewal for years, and I think reading enough about church history, recognizing that it always looks different than what you expected it to look like, right?
Oh yeah.
And what I envisioned when I started at the Bridge. Actually, what we see now, what's happened now in the last few years is far, I would say far greater, but very, very different than what I had imagined it. And so you kind of hold these things loosely, right? Like we have and talking about the board and administration, I think churches sometimes go, okay, here's our 5-year vision. Here's our 10-year. Here's where we're going to be 5 years. You have no idea.
No, none.
You don't know
whatsoever.
But you hold these things loosely, and you keep walking forward in the direction you believe God is calling you to. But you got to make space for Him to do His thing, right?
Yes, you always have to be open.
Yeah,
always open, and even just in life, right? Just to be okay. Don't stand still. Like you can't just stop and go. I can't do anything. I don't know what I'm doing. But take a step and go, okay, this looks like where the Lord's leading me.
Yeah.
So I will go this direction.
Yeah.
In my life, for example, when it was Delbrook, I actually felt at the time that the Lord was telling me, because people had asked me and they encouraged me, said, you're good at this type of thing, blah, 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 to be the Sunday school superintendent.
Okay.
It wasn't a good fit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But you do it for a year.
Yeah.
And then you go, no.
Yeah.
This is not working. Right. Yeah. And so then you step back and you go to, somewhere else and you do something else. Right. Yeah. But you always try to, you don't sit there on the pew.
Yeah.
You don't sit there in the chair going, I can't do anything. You try it, and if it works, then it works. Right.
That's good.
And if it doesn't, then you move on.
That's become a bit of a theme in some of these conversations about serving and about, being willing to step forward, try something, not being a passive participant, but getting into the game, even if you're not sure exactly what your position is yet.
Yeah, and it will evolve.
Yeah.
Something will come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the intentionality of it.
Yeah.
Right? To be intentional with our lives and just to move forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. Someone once asked me, what was your biggest regret at work? And I said, my biggest regret at work is being afraid to say no. And so sometimes you do need to say no, but sometimes you do need to say yes. Yeah. Right? And so you need to figure out that balance.
That's it. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Profound thoughts from Laura.
Profound. I got all sorts of profound things.
We'll get to that. Well, we got to talk about Excel spreadsheets at some point here too, obviously.
Well, we have to.
I
didn't bring my laptop.
So we should, let's give a little bit of context here. So Laura, you've often been in on like reviews with me, as well as even some interviews for like job applications and stuff. And your go-to question is, what
is your favorite Excel function?
What's your favorite Excel function? The first time I heard that, like, what? Who cares? What are you talking about? Why is that a good question?
Well,
defend yourself.
No defending. I'm just explaining. There's a difference. So I come from the world of pension consulting.
Okay.
The joke is, I've worked with a bunch of actuaries. And so
what is an actuary? Tell us.
Here's the joke.
Because obviously I know completely. I just want to ask for other people.
Yeah, well,
I really don't know what's an actuary.
Here's the joke, what an actuary is. So an actuary is an accountant who couldn't stand the excitement. Now, that pretty much sums it up.
I actually get that. I got that joke.
Yeah,
that was good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Huh? So that pretty much sums it up.
Okay.
So if you think insurance, that's where you hear mostly about actuaries.
Yeah.
They basically, come up with the life expectancy tables. They predict the future.
It does sound very joyful.
Oh, it's very dry. Unless you're in it and you love it, right?
Sure.
Right. And so you get these group of people who are all probably on the geeky side, right?
Yeah.
And so you have these job interviews, right? And they're talking about, they've taken these exams and they've taken these courses and they've got this and they've got that. So you do that. And then you ask them at the end of the interview, so what's your favorite Excel function? And well, their eyes just light up. They all go get geeky out on you. Okay. And they all go, and most of the time is VLOOKUP. Now, if you don't know what VLOOKUP, okay. So you got all these data tables, right? And you can do looking up. If you look up on this column, you can find it in this column, and you can pull it into this cell and use it as a formula. Anyhow, so it's all geeky.
Wow.
But then someone said to us once, it was HLOOKUP instead of VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is vertical and HLOOKUP is horizontal. Well, that just blew our all minds away. Like, it was just like, it's just incredible.
It tells you. It's good that people are wired in different ways, right? It's really good.
It is really good. But it tells you a lot about their personality, right? So if we had one guy said sum, and as soon as he said that, we went, oh, you have no idea how to use Excel. Okay. Because it's sum is just, right? It's just,
right. It's just child's play.
Child's play.
Yeah. Okay.
So the fact that they were able to tell you pivot tables or HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP, you knew that they knew Excel.
I mean, I think I'm regretting that I asked you the question. So okay, but it's a good entree into the into your work.
Yeah.
So you weren't an actual actuary?
No, I was not an actuary.
You weren't, but you worked with them.
I worked with them.
Yeah. What were you doing?
I worked for one company for 30 years.
Yeah.
And so I was blessed, in my personality too. I was very blessed to do basically 3 roles within that one company. So I changed every 7-10 years, I changed a role. But during that time, I was still with the same company, and I still had the same group of people around me. So I first started out as a pension administrator. So what I did was I'd actually do the calculations for individuals' pensions. So when they retired from a company, I would calculate their pension for them and do annual statements and filing with the government and paperwork and so forth and so on. I then moved over into the actuarial technician side, where I looked at...
That sounds very exciting.
It is. Don't diss my...
Actuarial
technician.
Okay.
So that's where I would look at the entire pension plan. So I would look at the liabilities of the entire pension plan for the whole population, calculate their value of their benefits, and then I would look at the whole assets and compare the two and do a report called an actuarial valuation report.
Yeah.
And it would tell you the company how much money to put into their fund in order to keep it going.
Okay. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I did some accounting. Oh, I did some post-retirement too as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And then from there, I moved over back into pension administration as the manager of the West. Okay.
Now, from an outside perspective, or like from someone listening, they go, okay, well that sounds like I don't know, secular work, or like it doesn't sound like there would be much integration there with Christian faith.
Right.
Was that your experience, or did faith impact your work, or was it kind of like this is my 9 to 5, or in some cases maybe 8 to 7, or whatever it was,
or 5 to 10?
Yeah.
And not 5 hours.
Yeah.
It was very secular.
Yeah.
Like it's not like doing church work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But wherever you go, you take Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you learn.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes you say yes, sometimes you say no. but you learn, right? And so probably, at the beginning, the first like 2 roles, like the pension administration and the actuarial technical, maybe not as much as in the final role as the pension manager. I had probably had more influence as the pension manager.
Okay.
But personally, going through all of this,
Yeah.
I was single at the time. I wasn't married. They thought this was great. This is like a consulting firm. Like, oh, this is good. We got we got a single woman. She's hardworking.
Yeah.
She has no life outside of work. This is fabulous. This is the perfect employee, right? So they felt that, and any task, I'm very task oriented. I know that about myself. Where if I'm given a task, it will get done. It will get done if I have to kill myself, but it will get done.
Yeah.
And they figured that out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So they maybe used and abused that a little bit, right? And so that's where I think I've talked to you about this as well before, my golden rules. And so this is where my golden rule number 1 came in, which is you do not work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You always think you can. You think you're young, you got the energy.
Yeah.
You can just look at that email.
Yeah.
That email, I can look at that, and then that morphs into like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or you start to think about it and then worry about it.
Yeah.
I burnt myself out real fast by working 7 days a week because I was given a task. I had to get it done.
Yeah.
It became very obvious that I wasn't going to get it done. I tried to ask for help. I didn't get it. So that's where golden rule number 1 came
And
in.
so the Christian biblical
Yep.
view of Sabbath here is playing into that.
Very much so.
Did that set you apart from others? It did. That you actually had, you were pretty strident about having a day where you were not going to do work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so after I burnt myself out, I became even more, like before I would do it.
Yeah.
But then I got, maybe a little proud. I mean, I could do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it became very obvious that I couldn't.
Okay.
Right? And so at that stage of the game, it was a hard line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard for a while because they would say, "Oh, you can come in that day," and I would no.
Yeah.
I can come in Monday. I'll come in, which is I was sort of joking about the 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, but that's what I would start to do.
Yeah,
I
sure.
would go in at 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and work then, and I'd get more done between 5 and 8 on Monday morning because there was usually nobody around than I ever would have if I had gone in on
If you'd
Sunday.
been trying to do 7 days a week. Yeah. Well, that's where the Bible really, there's a lot of wisdom.
Of wealth in here.
There's a lot of wisdom there, that the way the world goes, the
Yeah.
Bible speaks often in a different direction, and actually in the end it's for human flourishing. It's the way that we were made to live.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was that was not a hard one. They got it fairly quickly after I started to lay down the law. Because a lot of people would work Saturday and Sunday. So they would take Saturday morning off and then work Saturday night and Sunday.
Okay.
Where I felt with church, I really wanted to come to church.
Yeah.
So I would take Sunday off. And so
Yeah.
I had to push back a couple of times.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
It's just I had to
Yeah.
reinforce myself and remind myself that this is more important than this job. And if it was meant to be, then it was meant to be. And if it was not meant to be, then he would provide.
And would you say that your ability to push back and to stand your ground on those things, was that aided by just doing your work in a really kind of excellent, diligent kind of way, that you carried yourself in such a way that it would have made it hard for the company to lose you in the first place?
Probably a little bit, yes.
And would that have been, I feel like I'm a lawyer here asking leading questions, but could that have been also part of the way that faith and work were being integrated, that your faith was in some ways motivating you to work to the best of your ability?
Yeah, to work to the best of my ability for the Lord.
Yeah.
Whether that was in ministry or not.
Yeah.
Or whether that was somebody was watching me or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Again, and I think that's why they trusted me.
Yeah.
It came down to trust.
Yeah.
They gave me a task. I did it.
Yeah.
And I did it for the Lord. I did not do it for them.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. You did it for the Lord. You're
I'm
doing
my-
these super interesting things that I totally understand. And you're doing it for the Lord. What does that mean?
Well, I think that means for me, like, because anything we did, I mean, in our firm, we would talk about doing it for the client. But ultimately, the client is a human being.
Yeah.
Whether that's their pension plan, whether that's their lump sum payment, whether that's the company keeping it funded, whatever. I have got so many feelers out with people's financials and the Lord loves these people. So I was doing it. I was sort of skipping the middleman, so to speak, skipping the client and doing it for the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? So that's the way I sort of looked at it. I mean, we always talked about doing it for the client because this is important to people.
Yeah.
This is their life for some of them.
Yeah.
And just their financial security. And so I always thought of that as well. But I also thought, skip the middleman. This is for the Lord. He loves these people. He wants to look after them, so I'm doing it for him too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And that drove you to do the work to the best of your ability.
To the best of my ability.
Which in turn maybe did give you a little bit of freedom to be able to stand your ground on some of these other types of things.
Yeah. Exactly. And one other thing that they did, and this was sort of neat and exciting. This is the Lord's hand in this one. So we hadn't done a vacation Bible school or a Sunday, the summer fest thing for quite a while at Delbrook. And so there was a lot of kids coming up. The families were starting to have kids and so forth and so on. So they decided that they would do a VBS. So I was on the committee at the time when we decided, which package we were doing and what we were doing. And so we decided we would do this VBS, the Vacation Bible School, during the summer. And so there was just the group of us. There was maybe 6 of us. And we decided to do it outside because we didn't have the space. Yeah. So we did it outside. So we were renting tents and setting up programs and so forth and so on. And I really felt the Lord leading me to be heavily involved in this. Now I'm working Monday to Friday. I'm not, I don't really have, and I didn't really want to take off like a week's vacation for this.
You didn't love it that much.
I didn't love it that much. I didn't really want to because I worked hard. And, I was, I wasn't too sure about that. So, and I would think at the time, I only got 2 weeks. Might have been 3, but I think it was only a 2-week vacation period, right? So I really didn't want to do it. So I went to my supervisor at the time and I said, okay, I've worked really hard for the first half of the year. And this is what we do. This is our first half is always busier than the rest of it. And I said, I've worked really hard. Do you mind if I come in, say, at 1 o'clock and then, go for there? Oh, yeah, no problem, Laura. You can do that. And I think she knew more than I did that probably wasn't going to happen. Okay. And sure enough, it didn't. So what would happen was I'd come in at 1 o'clock after VBS. Yeah. And then I worked till 9 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And so she was quite happy, and I was okay. But again, they, because I had done it in such a way that they gave me the right, and I was able to do that. And so, but to wrap it all up with a bow, the Lord gave me so much strength that week that I was not tired in any way, shape, or form. And it wasn't a me strength. Yeah. This was, this was a God strength because, you're dealing with kids for 5 hours and then you're going down and switching off the brain from the screaming kids to the number crunching. And it's, it was, you could see the Lord's hand in all of that.
Very cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. Okay, and then now you're retired.
I have retired 3 years.
Last, what year?
3 years.
3? Have you been retired?
I've been retired.
You did some part-time contractual work.
No, prior to that, but I've been gone.
You've actually been fully retired for 3 years already. No way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's that like?
To
not have, because there was a certain kind of purpose that came through your work,
right?
And even there, you were board chair for some of that time too.
Right.
So now you've kind of that's done, and you're off of work.
Yeah.
Does it feel like, oh man, what am I supposed to do with my life right now?
No, not at all. the Lord's really leading me in all of this, right?
Okay.
When you retire, one of the rules of thumb is you get some schedule in your life. And so you want some schedule, but you want flexible schedule.
Yeah.
Right? So I've done a lot of things. So I've been on the board while I've been retired.
Yeah.
I was the chair of the board for a lot of that while
Yeah.
I was retired, which was, was fabulous, right? 'Cause
Kept you busy.
Kept me busy.
Yeah.
Kept me in the Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I love the budget, let me tell you. Numbers are your friend, man. I'm on the strata of our townhouse complex, so I'm the treasurer there. So again,
Okay.
Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah. And there's an opportunity, I guess, for you to bear witness in some ways to your neighbors as well, right?
Totally.
That you're able to serve and do that work as well. And I don't know if they know that you're
they know.
They know that you're a Christian.
They know
And
I'm a
here's this Christian woman who's serving the neighborhood.
Savor the neighborhood. So I'm on the strata, on the council on that. I work for my brother doing gardening, so totally different. He is a younger brother, so that's also a different dynamic too. Being the older sister, I'm usually the one in charge.
Right.
But now he's in charge. He's the boss, so that's been really good.
Yeah.
Then I've joined the Silver Harbor Senior Center.
Okay.
And I take different courses and I learn different things. And so that's been fun and exciting. And then the real passion, I'll save the best for last.
Yeah.
The real passion is the women's Bible study on Wednesdays. It's just such a joy.
Yeah.
It's like, I think.
I know, you come in every week and you're like, this is the best group ever.
It's the best group ever. So my apologies to all the other community groups, but the Wednesday afternoon or morning one with the ladies is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just, I've never had this. So personally, I've never been able to do this.
Right, because of your work schedule.
I've been working, right?
Sure.
I worked, 6 days a week sometimes, right?
Yeah.
If not, and long hours. And you're tired and it's like, oh, right. But so I've never had a group of women where we've had a Bible study together like this. And it's just, you come, it's different ages, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, but y'all talk, and you all have different insights, and it's amazing that some days it will be this person, some days it will be that person. You'll have like a aha moment. We're memorizing scripture. Some of us are struggling a little bit more than the younger ones, but we're still doing it.
Yeah.
We're going over the sermon notes. We're sharing life. We're on the app together. We pray for each other. We encourage each other. It's just an amazing group.
And that goes to show, and this is another thing that comes up often in these conversations, how church really is beyond Sunday, right?
Oh,
That's
totally.
what we're calling this podcast. And partly that was because I wanted to have conversations about how faith and work are integrated in various kinds of jobs, but also realizing that for people who have really experienced growth and renewal, it's because church has really extended beyond beyond Sundays.
Yes.
Their faith, of course, but even like their involvement in the church is deeper than just attending Sunday morning services, right?
Yes.
Which in our culture, in our time, you go to church 2 times a week and you're 2 times a month, and you're considered a regular attender. And from your perspective, you'd probably say, actually,
no.
You need to be going 2 times a week, probably, right?
At least.
In terms of being integrated into the body of Christ.
Yeah.
What difference has that made?
Oh, it's a huge difference. So I'm going to even go back to my university days. So again, this goes, and maybe university days was more on Sundays, right? Because you were busy as well with university and stuff. But at the time, there was a call for Sunday school teachers. And I would say in my life, it's probably the twice maybe, I've heard an audible voice of God. And it was, Laura, you need to teach Sunday school. And I went, oh, yeah, no, I'm not teaching this. I'm studying. I've got like 4 course load. No, I'm not teaching that. And it was like, Laura, you need to teach Sunday school. Okay. So I said, okay, Lord, I it was pretty audible. Like it was almost eerie. And I said, okay, I will teach Sunday school. So I offered to teach Sunday school. Now it was really nice in that the people I was talking to, they sort of looked at me like, well, aren't you in university? Like, what are you doing? Oh, well, why don't we pair you up with someone? And I went, oh, yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
And so that was actually, looking back, right, was my saving grace in that a lot of my friends and peers at the time went through university and they fell away because they, got involved in this and got involved in that. Started coming once a week.
Yeah.
Started coming twice a month. Started coming once a month, and then fell off.
Yeah.
But I had this commitment with Sunday school.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would show up to teach Sunday school. Now it was the young ones, right? And I'm pretty sure that the ladies that they paired me with were doing most of the teaching.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn, Margot. But it kept me grounded. It kept me connected.
Yeah.
I was tired, but I was there, and I was showing up. Right? Again, going back to the roof type thing, just the perseverance, just being there and showing up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, just being involved.
Even
right?
even in stages of your life where it feels almost impossible.
Yeah.
And so I know I said, twice you should be there twice a week.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not possible, right?
No.
But that this is a priority, that you've
Yes.
got to be connected to the body of Christ in
It's
order
the
to keep
intentionality.
growing.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And, you could be here 24/7.
Yeah.
Right? Like anything else. Like there's so much going on and so many exciting things. You can be here 24/7.
Yeah.
So you do have to have that balance.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Not a lot going on at 3 a.m. But
But you know what I'm saying. You could be here 7 days a week.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But to have that balance, right?
Yeah.
And to be connected.
Yeah.
Growing up in the youth group, it was probably more college and career, but you had your friend base here as well.
Yeah.
Right? You had friends from outside, but you also had your friend base here.
Yeah.
And when life really hits hard, the family of God is here for you.
Yeah.
Right? They're, just even in my life, I've seen, like, even getting the job, like, with working with Mercer, I struggled. I don't sell myself well sometimes. I am very, but once I'm in there, I'm in there. Like, I can really keep going.
Yeah.
And I remember a group of ladies just praying for me, just constantly praying for me.
Yeah.
Right? The youth group praying for me.
Yeah.
We had a prayer time in the morning with the college and career. It was on Tuesday mornings, I believe. And we would meet at 6:30 in the morning and pray for an hour before we all had to go to work or university.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So just to be the intentionality of all that. And just having, when life hits hard sometimes, you have people in this church family who will be praying for you, will be, have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
The number of times I've had conversations with some of the men in the church about work and stuff. And, Lord, this is what you do. This is what, you're in control of this situation, Lord. You can do this. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And just that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Just to have that, I know when my dad passed away, it was an unexpected death. The number of people that dropped off, soups, cookies, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just it felt like a constant stream of people.
Yeah.
Right, coming.
Yeah.
And my mom and my brother was just shocked at this because they were dropping them off at my mom's house, right? And so she was just shocked, right? So that was just the hands and feet of God working
This is
as
where
a
the
community.
church actually is a testimony to the world. It's supposed to be. It often isn't. It's often, unfortunately, a counter witness. But Jesus said the world would know that I was sent by my Father by the love that you have for one another, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of the whole idea here. This is supposed to be the body of Christ, showing what he's like.
Yeah.
In that case, you actually saw that played out.
Yeah, exactly. And then I tried to play that out as well.
Yeah.
In my work role as well as a manager, right? Again, you brought people in, and yes, you have a job to do, and this is the job. This is A, B, C, and D. But then you've got life going on over here, and you can separate your job from your life, but it's more difficult to separate your life from your job. You tend to bring in your job or your life into your job sometimes. Yeah. And so when I was talking to people as my manager with my direct reports, we would talk about everything. And that's where a lot of my faith would come in, because I was able to share my perspective of what we are taught through the Bible on how to love one another.
Yeah.
Right.
And you probably share it as, this is my perspective, this is where I'm coming from, not imposing it on people, but just saying, this is how I see things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One other thing to ask you about, and I don't know how much you want to speak into this, but you mentioned that you were single until later on in life, and then you and Martin didn't have kids.
Correct.
How was that for you? Kind of in a pretty family oriented church, I think, even at the time, and in a culture that like that's still kind of been the, I guess, expected kind of norm in some ways, maybe less and less these days. Yeah. But what was that journey like for you in terms of being single till a little bit later on? How old were you when you?
40.
40. Okay. Yeah. Because obviously a lot of people struggle with that, right? They want those things. They're looking for those things. They're not coming. Yeah. How did you walk that?
That was let me. It was difficult on some aspects, and it wasn't on others. It was just who I was. The Lord's always blessed me, and I'm not sure if it's a personality thing or if it's I'm not sure exactly how to explain it, but I've always sort of been happy with where I'm at, because I know the Lord's got this.
Yeah.
And so I've always been happy with, being single or being married or wherever, but happy in the situation. There were obviously some moments when it was just like, okay, maybe that one summer where it was like every weekend I was at a wedding. Right. That was a little like, right? Yeah. I'm happy for you. Yeah. But do y'all have to get married at the same time? Yeah. That was maybe a little hard. I think my mind, I think the hardest part, and I don't think we would hear this now. But there was a sermon that basically all I heard was, and I may have heard it wrong, but all I heard was, if you're not married, you're not doing the Lord's will.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that hurt.
No kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
That is when I...
and obviously he wasn't preaching from 1 Corinthians 7.
No. And it was a guy I really respected too, which it really hurt too. Yeah. So that really hurt. And so I was just totally upset. And I remember walking out, and the next day I get a phone call from the youth pastor at the time. He says, "Lord, we need to talk." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we do." Now, I'm not a youth. I'm older, right? Yeah. But, he picked, I think it was family ministry, youth and family ministry or something. And so he said, "We need to talk." I said, "Oh, yeah, we do." So we had a little chat, and I said, "I need a break for a while." So it was I don't think anybody really noticed, but I did walk away from Delbrook for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then I revamped and went back to the Word, and got back sort of stable again, and realized, no, what I heard wasn't really what I read here.
Yeah.
I'm a child of God.
Yeah.
I'm a daughter of God. So,
and you're able to stay connected
and
with the church,
Yeah.
even if you heard something that maybe really was wrong and you disagreed with and hurt.
I was,
Yeah.
but
'Cause I think for a lot of people that they walk away and then they're not coming back at all, right?
Yeah. But I think, again, back to what I talked about at the beginning, perseverance,
Yeah.
right? There's always going to be something somebody might say wrong, or somebody might roll their eyes, or they're having a bad day and they just sort of give you the shoulder. People are people.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. Try not to get into their brain. Don't put words into their brain.
Yeah.
Find the truth. The truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Your truth, my truth, and the truth is really here. Right?
Yeah.
And so just, persevere, right? Learn how to forgive each other. Learn how to love each other.
Yeah.
Learn how to work with each other. Yeah, you have some quirks, I have some quirks.
Yeah.
But, you figure it out.
Well, I don't have any quirks.
Oh, please. I worked with you for 6 years. I have quirks too.
I didn't debate that. Yeah, I didn't argue that. No, I like what you like. The church in some ways is a gym. It's where you're working out these spiritual muscles, right?
Yes.
Like in terms of forgiveness and reconciliation and bearing with one another.
Yes.
And the church is not a perfect place, and
No.
you're going to hear things that you wish you hadn't heard, and people are going to say things. And
Yes.
I think it's important to be honest about that. Yeah. But then to say that doesn't mean that you walk away from the thing, because this is actually forming us into the image of Jesus, having to do community with people that maybe we really don't like sometimes or have hurt us or whatever.
Yeah.
This is actually how we grow into our likeness with Christ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just to see God do that in so many relationships as well over the last few years. Like I've really seen him at work, like seeing some major blow-ups, and then people come together and really work it out, right? And so, and, I just, we don't have, Martin and I don't have any children, but, children are the future, and they bring so much, and it's just, it's exciting to watch all the kids. And, we make a point of coming to the productions and everything, and we enjoy it, right? Because, the hard work from the staff and the volunteers to get all this done. But, to see Jesus just giving them that foundation in life.
Yeah.
It's just, it will do them so much good, and it's a joy to watch for us.
And I hear that in you. So going back to the kind of the marriage and parenting thing, that even if you never had kids, that God has still given you opportunities to, in some ways, still play a part in discipleship of this next generation, right? You've talked about being a Sunday school superintendent and teaching Sunday school and day camp and those kinds of things. But even if somebody were not, a big fan of kids and didn't have any of their own, to be praying for this next generation, like all of us, whether we're parents or not, whatever stage of life we're in, we want to be part of what the Lord is doing in this next generation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, even just, maybe not so much the young ones now in my life, I'm noticing, but the little older ones, the 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds.
The 20ists. I like that.
20ists. Around 20 to 30. 20 to 30. I seem to be making a connection with them on some level. So that works too, right?
Yeah.
I'm happy to help. And, someone, there's a saying, a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person will learn from yours.
Oh, there we go. Well, you did say you had some profound statements for us. That was a little bit better than sometimes yes, sometimes no. That was a better one.
That was a better one. Just wait for the old bad jokes here, Craig.
Well, before we wrap up, give us a bad. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Laura. You are in those reviews and interviews, oftentimes, a really bad joke comes.
I don't know if I have a bad joke.
Not off the top of your head?
Well, not the one that I haven't told you before.
Well, that's fine. It could be one that you've told me before.
Well, this is my favorite one.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
What did the 0 say to the 8? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Nice belt.
That's right. She's looking to Rodrigo for support on this one.
Rodrigo.
Someone laugh at my joke.
Some math geek will get that one.
Yeah, I don't know if me or Rodrigo are your.
No, I don't think my right audience.
But, it's good. It's good.
Thank you.
So to wrap it up,
Okay.
here is the question. Always my final question.
Okay.
So as you look over the course of your life, what is one thing about following Jesus that you've learned that you would want to communicate to other people? It's the most important thing you could think of about following Jesus that you've learned in your life.
Following Jesus, I think the most important thing I've learned is I think pride creeps in a lot very easily with a lot of people. Like personally, it does too, and that there is nothing we can do to be saved. It is all Him.
Yeah.
And it's a gift, and it's, when you first become a Christian, this, then you start to sort of go back into yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to be reminded that, no, there's nothing you can do. You can't, by doing superintendent, VBS, board stuff, whatever. It's good to serve, but the's nothing that you can do to be saved.
Amen. No. Not by works, so no one can boast, but by faith, by grace. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Laura.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming on. Be on Sunday. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.